Do you have much trouble separating Dan Blocker from Hoss Cartwright?
Well, not anymore. There was a time, of course, that I did. I think after...
Hoss, didn't I tell you to stay out of trouble?
Oh, I ain't no trouble.
Willie, give me the gun.
You've watched Bonanza for its heart, its drama, and its unforgettable characters. But what if we told you there was an episode so shocking, so emotionally charged, that it never made it to air? That's right, an entire Bonanza episode that fans never got to see. Why was it pulled? What happened behind the scenes? And how did it change the course of the series forever? Stick around, because this is a story every Bonanza fan needs to hear. Hoss Cartwright was just gone. In the world of television, the sudden departure of a beloved character can leave a profound impact on viewers and cast alike. This was the case with Hoss Cartwright, played by Dan Blocker, on the iconic Western series Bonanza. Blocker's unexpected death on May 13, 1972, from a pulmonary embolism following routine gallbladder surgery, sent shockwaves through the industry and left a noticeable void in the show. For 13 seasons, Hoss had been the gentle giant of the Cartwright family, known for his kind heart and unwavering loyalty. He was a character who brought warmth, humor, and a unique sense of strength to the series.
1 hour and 15 minutes. And ain't even moved the last 10.
The decision not to address his absence with a formal send-off left fans feeling confused and bereaved. Instead of a farewell, the producers chose silence, resulting in a narrative that abruptly grappled with the reality of Blocker's death without directly confronting it. As production was about to begin for the 14th season, the producers faced a daunting challenge. The character of Hoss, integral to the show's dynamics, was simply gone. Lorne Greene, who portrayed Ben Cartwright, expressed his disbelief that the show could continue without Blocker, stating, "I didn't see how the show could continue." His feelings echoed those of the entire cast, who considered Blocker not just a colleague, but a dear friend. This close-knit family atmosphere made his absence even more palpable. Initially, it was decided that the show would incorporate Hoss's death into the storyline, marking a significant moment in television history. The two-part episode titled Forever was written to acknowledge the loss, which was a groundbreaking decision, as it was the first time a television show addressed the death of a character in such a direct manner. This was not just a narrative choice. It was a way to honor Blocker and recognize the emotional turmoil experienced by both the cast and the audience. But the episode did not feature Hoss in the way fans might have expected. Instead, the story focused on Little Joe, played by Michael Landon, as he navigated the grief following the tragic loss of his wife, Alice Harper, who was killed by gangsters. While Hoss's absence was felt, the show attempted to weave subtle references to his character throughout the episode. For instance, during a poignant moment, Joe reminisces about the special bond he shared with Hoss, which underscores the depth of their relationship without showing the character on screen. As production began, the emotional weight of filming while grieving became apparent. The cast and crew found solace in reminiscing about Blocker, sharing laughter and memories of his time on set. They spoke of the joy he brought to the show and how his spirit lingered in their hearts. This cathartic process allowed them to honor their friend while creating a meaningful episode that conveyed their collective grief. In spite of the emotional storytelling and the rating success of Forever, the show struggled to regain its former glory. After Blocker's death, Bonanza was switched from its long-standing Sunday night time slot to Tuesdays at 8 p.m., a move that did not resonate with its audience. Ratings plummeted, indicating that viewers were no longer as invested in the series without Hoss. It became evident that the heart of Bonanza was missing, and fans were reluctant to embrace the show in its new form. As the final season unfolded, references to Hoss continued, but the details surrounding his death remained ambiguous. It was only in later adaptations, such as Bonanza: The Next Generation, that fans learned the specifics, that Hoss had drowned while attempting to save another man. This revelation added another layer of sorrow to the character's legacy, cementing Hoss Cartwright's place in the hearts of viewers. Ultimately, the season without Hoss marked a significant turning point for Bonanza. Although the show continued to air, the absence of Dan Blocker was felt deeply by both the cast and the audience. The beloved gentle giant may have been gone, but his spirit remained a guiding light for those who had known him, a poignant reminder of the impact he made during his time on the show. But beyond the storyline and ratings, one has to ask, how did the cast carry on when the heart of the show was suddenly gone? The emotional impact. The loss of Dan Blocker was not just a professional setback, it was a personal tragedy for everyone involved in the show. Blocker's unexpected death at the age of 43 left a palpable void that reverberated through the cast and crew, who had spent over a decade working together. Their close bonds transformed into a familial connection, making his absence all the more devastating. Michael Landon, who played Little Joe Cartwright, felt this loss more acutely than anyone. The two actors shared a unique brotherly bond both on and off the screen, a relationship characterized by mutual respect and camaraderie. When Blocker died, the atmosphere on the set shifted dramatically. The weight of grief was evident, but the cast struggled to find the words to express their sorrow. As the day progressed without any acknowledgement of their collective grief, the uneasiness hung in the air. Nobody said anything at first, which was a mistake, Landon later reflected. The silence that permeated the set added to the heaviness of their loss, making it difficult for the cast and crew to focus on their work. Finally, at the end of that challenging day, the actors decided to speak openly about their feelings. They shared heartfelt speeches, breaking down in tears as they confronted the reality of their friend's absence. This cathartic moment proved essential. It allowed them to release their pent-up emotions, facilitating a healing process that was necessary to move forward with their work. Landon later expressed gratitude for this emotional release, as it enabled them to carry on, honoring Blocker's memory while continuing to produce the show they loved. In the wake of Blocker's death, the producers faced the difficult task of reshaping the script for the season's opening episode, titled Forever. Originally intended for Blocker, the story had to be adjusted to feature Landon as Little Joe. In spite of the changes, Landon ensured that the core of the narrative remained intact, making only minor adjustments to acknowledge the loss of Hoss. He stated, "I added about 3 lines to mention the death of Hoss. That's all that needs to be said." For Landon, discussing the death of a beloved character was unnecessary. In real life, such tragedies often go unspoken. He believed that the silence surrounding such a loss could speak volumes, reflecting the deep sense of grief felt by everyone involved. Landon's bond with Blocker extended beyond the screen. Their shared experiences during long filming days created a genuine friendship. Even though they didn't often socialize outside of work, their connection was strong. "When you're together so much, you run out of jokes at the end of the day," Landon noted. Over the years, they had shared countless laughs, which made the silence after Blocker's death feel even heavier. As they navigated the filming of Forever, Landon and the cast often reminisced about their time with Blocker, sharing stories and recalling funny moments that brought smiles amid their tears. Blocker was a big man in stature and personality, and his presence was deeply missed. The emotional toll of his absence was not just felt by Landon, but resonated throughout the entire crew. As filming progressed, the set became a place where memories of Blocker could be cherished rather than forgotten. Landon and his co-stars continued to honor their friend through their performances, infusing their characters with the essence of Hoss Cartwright, ensuring that he would not be forgotten. The impact of Blocker's death extended beyond the show, affecting viewers who had grown attached to Hoss over the years. Fans felt the loss as acutely as the cast, with many expressing their grief through letters and public forums. For everyone involved, the absence of Hoss was not just a plot point. It was a profound emotional experience that changed the course of Bonanza and left a lasting legacy in the hearts of those who loved the show. But what happens to a family when its warmest heart suddenly stops beating? Come with us to know. The family without Hoss. Hoss was not merely a character. He was a pivotal figure whose gentle spirit and humorous charm were integral to the Cartwright family dynamic. His departure left a substantial gap that the producers found challenging to bridge. Following Blocker's death, the producers introduced new characters, such as Griff King, a former parolee attempting to make a fresh start on the Ponderosa ranch. However, Griff failed to resonate with the audience as Hoss had. The chemistry among the original cast was irreplaceable, and viewers acutely felt the loss of Hoss, which shifted the family dynamics drastically. The warmth and humor that characterized the interactions among Hoss, Joe, and Ben Cartwright were missing, leading to a more somber atmosphere. The lighthearted banter that had defined the series was replaced by a heavier tone, and fans began to notice that the heart of the show had dimmed without Blocker's joyful spirit. As writers struggled to create engaging storylines, the absence of Hoss became increasingly evident. His role as a mediator in conflicts and his ability to provide comic relief were key elements that were now missing. The episodes felt unbalanced, lacking the familiar dynamic he contributed to family discussions. The storytelling suffered as the brotherly bond between Hoss and Joe, which often resolved tensions, was no longer present. The decision to kill off Hoss prompted changes in how the remaining characters dealt with grief and loss. Although the show attempted to address this through moments of reflection and mourning, the emotional depth often felt lacking. The Cartwrights' struggles to cope did not quite match the emotional weight that Hoss had carried throughout the series, leaving fans feeling that the show was moving on too quickly without fully acknowledging his impact. The adventurous plots and moral lessons that had been central to the show also struggled to maintain their intrigue without Hoss's wisdom. His ability to mediate conflicts and offer insightful guidance had been pivotal in many storylines. Attempts to introduce Cowboy Canaday as a recurring character did little to revive the show's spirit. He failed to capture the essence of what Hoss brought to the family. As the final season progressed, it became clear that the absence of Hoss had transformed Bonanza. Despite efforts to explore new avenues and introduce fresh characters, the series struggled to recapture the magic that had made it a favorite. The heartfelt connections defining the Cartwright family diminished, leaving fans longing for the warmth and camaraderie that Hoss had provided. Moreover, the show's overall tone shifted, resulting in a more somber atmosphere that lacked the lighthearted moments fans cherished. This shift not only affected the cast's performances, but also the audience's emotional investment in the series. Viewers began to feel a disconnect, as the laughter and joy that had once characterized Bonanza were overshadowed by the palpable absence of Hoss. How did this profound absence ripple beyond the screen and into the hearts of millions watching at home? Stay with us to know. Audience reactions. For countless fans, Hoss Cartwright was a character who truly connected with audiences and made a lasting impression. When he passed away unexpectedly, fans were heartbroken. Many viewers expressed their sadness by writing letters to the producers, sharing personal stories about how Hoss had impacted their lives. Each letter reflected the strong bond fans had formed over years of watching Bonanza, filled with memories of gathering with family on Sunday nights, excited for the next Cartwright adventure. Blocker's performance made Hoss the heart of the Cartwright family, and without him, a big gap was left that could never be filled. The collective mourning of the audience showed the deep emotional connection that had developed between them and the characters of Bonanza. Hoss's character represented qualities that many people admired: compassion, loyalty, and a strong moral compass. He was the brother who always stood by little Joe and Ben, offering support and understanding. This strong familial bond was relatable, and viewers saw parts of their own lives reflected in the Cartwright family's dynamics. In their letters, fans also shared how Hoss had influenced their lives positively. Many expressed that his gentle nature and kind-heartedness provided a sense of hope and reassurance during difficult times. For some, watching Bonanza was a cherished family tradition, and Hoss was an integral part of those memories. The character's ability to resolve conflicts with love and humor resonated with audiences, making them feel connected to the values he embodied. Dan Blocker's passing sparked important discussions about character development in television. Fans recognized that well-crafted characters like Hoss Cartwright could create lasting emotional connections. Hoss was not just a source of entertainment, he became a role model for many viewers, fostering a sense of belonging and connection. The producers of Bonanza understood Hoss's significance and initially considered recasting the role. Ultimately, they decided against it, believing Blocker's portrayal was irreplaceable. In spite of their best efforts, the dynamics of the show changed without Hoss. New characters failed to capture the audience's hearts, leading to a noticeable decline in ratings. But Hoss's legacy remained strong through reruns of Bonanza, allowing new viewers to experience Blocker's memorable performance. Hoss became a benchmark for love and compassion in television, and his character continued to resonate with fans, evolving into a lasting legacy that showcases the profound impact of well-developed characters on audiences. Redefining masculinity. Hoss Cartwright played a crucial role in redefining the concept of masculinity in American television during the 1960s. In an era dominated by the archetype of the stoic, rugged cowboy, Hoss emerged as a refreshing alternative. His character embodied a new model of masculinity that combined strength with vulnerability, kindness, and emotional depth, resonating with audiences and influencing future portrayals of male characters in the medium. Unlike traditional Western heroes who often relied on brute strength and emotional detachment, Hoss represented a more nuanced approach. Hoss often stepped in to mediate conflicts between his brothers, using his understanding and kind-heartedness to resolve tensions. This ability to communicate openly and express emotions was a departure from the typical portrayal of men in Westerns, making Hoss a role model for viewers who admired these traits. The impact of Hoss Cartwright extended beyond Bonanza, influencing the development of male characters in subsequent television series. Shows in the late 1960s and 1970s began to embrace the idea that men could express their emotions and demonstrate vulnerability without sacrificing their strength. Characters inspired by Hoss embodied traits such as loyalty, love for family, and emotional intelligence, reflecting a shift in societal expectations regarding masculinity. This evolution paved the way for future television heroes who were well-rounded and relatable, rather than one-dimensional figures defined solely by their toughness. Hoss's representation of masculinity resonated with audiences who sought characters that mirrored their own values and experiences. Viewers found comfort in Hoss's struggles and triumphs, identifying with his challenges as he navigated the complexities of family life and relationships. This connection fostered a deeper emotional investment in the character, reinforcing the idea that strong men could also be nurturing and caring. Moreover, Hoss's character contributed to a broader cultural conversation about masculinity during a time of significant social change in the United States. The 1960s and 1970s were marked by shifting gender roles and the questioning of traditional norms. Hoss Cartwright's character helped to challenge stereotypes, showcasing that men could embrace qualities traditionally associated with femininity, such as compassion and emotional openness. Could the abrupt ending of Hoss's storyline have set a new standard for how TV shows handle the loss of key characters? The unofficial goodbye. Dan Blocker's last episode on Bonanza ultimately failed to deliver the closure many fans were yearning for. The abrupt departure of Hoss Cartwright left a significant mark on the series, creating a palpable sense of loss that resonated throughout the show's narrative. Instead of a heartfelt farewell or a proper tribute to Hoss, the episode chose to focus on Little Joe and his struggles, which diverted attention from the emotional impact of losing a beloved character. This decision to shift the storyline without addressing Hoss's absence in a meaningful way set a new precedent for how television shows handle the loss of key characters. Many viewers felt that the show glossed over the emotional turmoil that such a significant loss entailed, leaving them with unanswered questions and a sense of incompleteness. The choice to omit a formal send-off for Hoss not only disappointed fans, but also transformed Bonanza's legacy. This lack of closure became a defining moment, illustrating the complexities of navigating character deaths in long-running series. Ultimately, the absence of Blocker left an indelible mark on the show, reminding everyone of the deep connections viewers form with their favorite characters. Hoss Cartwright may have left the screen, but his memory lived on, echoing through the hearts of fans who cherished the time spent with him on the Ponderosa. The emotional void left by Hoss became more evident with each new episode, where his larger-than-life presence was clearly missed. His gentle strength, unwavering loyalty, and deeply human spirit had served as a moral compass within the Cartwright family. Without him, the dynamic among the remaining characters subtly shifted, leaving a noticeable imbalance. Longtime viewers could feel the tension. Something essential was gone, and no amount of story development could fully compensate. Writers and producers, perhaps caught off guard by the real-life tragedy, seemed unsure of how to gracefully transition the show. The sudden redirection not only bypassed the grieving process for fans, but also left the remaining characters without the narrative space to mourn. In doing so, the show missed a crucial opportunity to explore themes of loss, resilience, and healing, elements that could have deepened the emotional resonance of the series in its final seasons. While the show went on, it never quite recaptured the familial warmth and cohesion that Hoss had helped cultivate. The chemistry that once bound the characters together felt altered, even strained at times, as if the heart of the show had been subtly removed without explanation. New story arcs were introduced, but none could fill the gap left by a character so foundational to the show's identity. For a show that had built its success on strong family values and emotional authenticity, the absence of any acknowledgement felt jarring. The silence around Hoss's fate felt like a narrative void, one that many fans filled with their own interpretations and imagined farewells. In hindsight, the lack of a proper goodbye became one of the most talked about moments in Bonanza history. It showed the delicate balance showrunners must strike between respecting real-life circumstances and honoring the emotional investment of their audience. The series may have continued, but without addressing this crucial turning point, it became a powerful example of how unresolved grief, on and off screen, can linger far beyond the final credits. If this hidden Bonanza episode shocked you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another untold TV secret. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.